Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means. The other two are just along for the ride. Isaac, say what's up.
What up?
We are joined by family of the pod now, Brody Brecht here. The best things about fatherhood in your first 2 months of it. How's it going?
I'd say seeing him grow every day is super cool, and he's starting to like smile, which is like the best feeling ever. And then I'd say like seeing my wife be a mom is super cool as well. But definitely those two things. I mean, definitely other as well, but those are the first two that come to mind.
Dude, it's incredible what moms are like
And
going through the whole process and then afterwards. And
she's a rock. She's a rock star. So
yeah, they step up. It's incredible what they do. And then how did you come up with the name Banks? I love the middle name, by the way. Perfect 10 out of 10 middle name. Aaron is fantastic, but I'm curious how the Banks name came up.
yeah. Well, so we wanted like something. We wanted to keep it like if it was a boy, we wanted to keep it like BB. And then if it was a girl, like my wife's name's Taylor, so we wanted it to be like a TB. We've always like kind of liked that. Keeping it going. And then we wanted something a little different. It's kind of like more unique. And then what's funny is so Iowa's baseball stadium is like Dwayne Banks Field, and so we liked it, and that's just what we rolled with. So, and then Aaron, that's my dad's name, and that's my middle name. So I thought it was good too. So,
yep, there you go. That's perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. And a little bringing it all in together. So, you're a father, married too. I think since the last time we've talked to you.
yeah.
Professional, had your first year of professional baseball under your belt. What has been the easiest one of all three?
Baseball for sure.
I was gonna say, I think there's only one answer here. Man.
Yeah. I mean, they've all been great, but definitely, I mean, the other two, as much as I love baseball and whatnot, like, I have, priorities, faith, family, then ball. So, the other two are definitely, number one and number two in my life, but, baseball's right there, but definitely, excited and have blessed to be able to, start, got married young, have a kid now, and then, being able to like, start my professional career has definitely been, a crazy year, and it's gone by quick, but super excited for what's next. So.
Yeah, to get down there. Yeah, you're headed down to the spring training facilities, the complex here in a few weeks. What are you looking forward to the most? Like, I mean, you're in Iowa right now. It's cold. Yeah. It's windy. It's miserable outside. What's getting you excited about spring training?
Yeah, I mean, I think just, knowing that it's almost, season's here, right? Definitely excited to get down, Arizona, get, on a dirt mound, get some nice weather, being able to, go outside and stuff, will be good. And then just seeing the guys, that I played with, and just starting to get back into that routine, been building up, have had a good off season. So now it's just, continue to ramp up, and then it's spring training, then it's go time. So I'm really just excited for the season this year. Thought we've had a good off season, healthy off season, which is the most important thing, and just excited for the year to start.
Yeah, is it a different feel? Because I'm sure in Iowa you have to train indoors with this cold weather. Like, is it a different feel once you go and start being outside again? You're on a dirt mound, you have like wind as a factor.
Yeah.
Like, is it different?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it definitely is. You start like, I don't know, it's tough here. I mean, with this, I mean, I usually like if it's, above, 35, 40, I try to get outside and play catch, just, I don't know where I'm gonna be this year, but, it may be cold, some games, so just get used to it and just trying to get outside as much as I can. Being able to put some air on the ball, but then, we got to go inside. We make it work, but, it's definitely nice to be able to get outside, get some warm weather, baseball weather and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, it's cold here, but it's you make it work.
Right.
Yeah. People in the South don't know. Like, always talking to some of you, your teammates, your colleagues, so to speak. Yeah, we're training Florida, from Florida, making sure we go down to Florida. Like, no, it's just not the same as Midwest.
No, I mean, this is Big Ten baseball, dude.
Right?
I mean, I'm used to it. I've played in snow, wind, sleet. I mean, it's just being in the Midwest, man.
It is what it is, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I know the Rockies have been snowed out of games, and I know when I was growing up in Nebraska, we got snowed out of the games. I'm sure you guys snow out games. Like it is what it is. You got to get.
It's part of it. Part of it.
You don't get to complain. You're in the Midwest, baby. As
exactly.
In the middle of a snowstorm right now, it's like -5 degrees outside. So it is what it is. Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's get into some of the comments here. Appreciate all the fans coming hang out. So, yeah, Spo to the show, Pudgy Money here. You're gonna have a fan as soon as you get up there. You're gonna know him when he gets there. Brody, can't wait to see you in Spokane. Had many Iowa football helmets sit in my closet, waiting to try to get you signed once you make it to the 509. I mean, we're all a little selfish. Hopefully, you skip the 509, just make your way to Hartford or Albuquerque. But I'm sure Go Spo wants it there. Simple put, Brody Brecht dog. Are we still good? Like, I still remember you explaining the tweet good and that dog simple word. Like are we still good? We still having that chip on our shoulder? We still ready to do the dirty work, man?
Always. Everything is good, man. You're still breathing. It's good. So, no, definitely excited for, wherever I'm at. And, yeah, I mean, I love doing the dirty work, love putting in the work. It's just how I raised, where I'm from. It's, that Iowa, edge you got. So, yeah, everything's good.
Ready to just go out there. Dog, good. There is a T-shirt in here, Isaac. We got something here. Brody, you're gonna be special, my mama. You got a support of all the Rockies fans. Go be great. I am curious what he means by this. Spinning VC on your tattoo sleeve was a good move. What is VC and what is he talking about?
I think that's like Fortnite. I'm not a big.
That's what I went straight to as well.
I'm not a big Fortnite guy, but I think 2K's got VC. I don't know. I haven't played in a while. I'm more like an NCAA Madden guy, but I think that's what it is. So, I think 2K, like you spend VC, you get tattoos, which I mean, that's what I did when I was playing 2K. My guys tatted up. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, 2K currency. Yep.
That's funny. What's up, fellas? Brody, who have been some of your favorite pitchers to watch, favorite pitches to throw? And this leads into our next little follow-up questions going into forward. But yeah, pitches to throw.
I mean, my favorite pitcher to watch. I mean, I can think of two. And they're two of the best in the game. Skeens. My freshman year, we played him down in South Carolina when he was at Air Force, when he was a two-way guy, and he was pitching, and we heard like always, big two-way guy. He was pitching, but he was, he's like 92, 94. And then he hit a home run against Adam Mazur, who is one of our best pitchers. He's in the league. I think he got traded with the Marlins now. So we're like, this dude looks pretty legit. And then we were in a tournament with them my sophomore year when he was at LSU, and then when he's fully dove in baseball and he's not, flying fighter jets and stuff, he's, throwing, 98, 100. So cool to watch. And then I said Tariq Skubal, even though he's a lefty, one of the Detroit's assistant pitching coach, Robin Lund, was pitching coach at Iowa my freshman year. And so just kind of seeing him, evolve and be with Skubal and just being a part of that has been cool to watch. So, and I'm a Detroit Lions fan. So, just seeing, Detroit sports is cool and whatnot. But I'd say definitely those two guys. And then, some others out there. I like, Max Scherzer's mentality on the mound is super cool to watch. And then seeing what, Yamamoto did, in the World Series, coming right back and pitching in Game 7 was super cool. So, there's a lot of guys, if you're watching a big league dude work, there's always notes you can take and whatnot. But definitely, those two to three guys. So.
Are you taking notes when you're watching games, or is it ever turn off, or you're like, I'm just gonna sit back and watch this Game 7, or are you taking notes?
So like I don't usually like I'm kind of type of guy where like I don't like during baseball I don't really watch a whole lot of like a whole game. I'll kind of go back and watch clips of like as a pitcher resetting, what's his deep breath, what's his like kind of routine look like. But like first to ninth inning, I don't do a whole lot of that. I kind of need to like for me, it's kind of like an overload. Like I kind of need a break a little bit. And what, like same thing, like when I played football, like, you don't really want to watch a whole lot. You don't have time really, but like, it's just kind of, it gets to be like too much. Like, hey, I need a break. Like, when I'm here at the facility, when I'm playing, like I'll be 100% fully locked in, but when I'm away at home, I need to, chill, be a husband, be a dad, whatever. But I definitely like, I work with the mental performance coach, and, we always watch, pitchers that he works with, kind of their routines and like, seeing like, what are they, taking a deep breath on a focal point. What is that? Are they wiping the rubber to reset? Like, just that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I think all valid. Like we all need breaks, and fans always think you have to be like I want you as a player, you have to be 100% committed 100% of the time.
Yeah,
and like I can imagine doing anything all the time, all in. Like this sounds exhausting.
Yeah, I mean it's not sustain. I mean,
you just can't.
I mean, I'm sure there are like there's baseball junkies out there. They're watching every single game, but they're not. They're not playing. They're not at the field for 9 hours, 10 hours a day. But I mean, I definitely think like, you definitely got to be able to like, watch the game and observe and, see what's going on in situations and, how, certain players handle, the pressure. Do they crumble? Do they rise to the occasion? All that type of stuff. But, there's definitely has to be a balance, between, work, family, sleep and all this stuff. You got to find a good balance for you. And some people it's, their family / free time is watching baseball, right? But for me, it's being with my family. It's watching a movie, playing a little NCAA, get my mind off of it, and whatnot. So like everybody kind of has their certain vices that they go to and their amount of free time that they go to, splitting up to 3. But
yeah,
go ahead. When did you learn how to like manage that? Like this was your first year that you were a baseball player.
Yeah.
You're a baseball player, and then you were a student, then you were a football player and baseball player at Iowa.
Yeah.
Was it this year when you learned how to like fully manage when I'm in a baseball mindset and when I'm not going to be in the baseball mindset?
I mean, this was definitely the first year, just with how long of a season it was and how long you're at the field, and the recovery and the day-to-day kind of work. You're playing the same team 6 days in a row, then you got a travel day. Kind of figuring that out was kind of like it was obviously my first experience getting that in. But I've always been a routine guy, so it's very easy for me to get into a routine. What days I'm doing my recovery, what time, bedtime, wake up time, what I'm doing at the field, after BP when we got kind of 2.5 hours before we got out there on a home game and whatnot. So it's very easy for me to fall into a routine with that. But definitely like when I first started, hearing about the balance of the 3, between work, family, sleep, all this stuff was, at Iowa when I was, when I was doing both those sports, it was a lot, I got, especially in the spring, it was, I'm still trying to make a name for myself, on the football side of things. So, I got, 6 a.m. lift, and then I got, practice after, baseball practice in the afternoon, baseball game at night, depending on the day, spring ball. So like I school on top of it. So like definitely trying to figure out how to balance all that and get a routine. So that definitely helped me, with the, busy, schedule, long schedule that we have with the baseball season. So, I mean, I've been, kind of, you live and you learn, you try, I had stuff, that I was doing for, a couple of weeks. So I was like, hey, I'm going to change this here and there. So it's all about what works for you. Some guys, get there, at a certain time. I'm a guy that likes to get there early. I got to have a, good warm up routine and all this stuff. I kind of like to, have built-in time in case something comes up, whatever. So everybody kind of has their, routine they go to. So
what's the favorite thing you added to your routine last year?
So I'm a big, so day after I pitch, like going to do like a float. So it's like pretty much you just sit in like a tub and it's like 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt and you float and the water's like 96 degrees and you just kind of sit there and relax, for 45 minutes to an hour. So that was just really good for me to kind of, just get my body to reset, my muscles to relax and get the body ready to go again, 4, 5, 6 days later. So, I definitely was a big fan of that. But yeah, I mean, I like getting there early and stretching, lift, getting some food in me, and then going out there, playing catch. We got BP, all that stuff. So, but definitely the float. I'm a big fan of that. So,
big floater guy. All right,
big float guy. Yeah,
big float guy. That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard of the was it the desensory tubs?
Yeah, pretty much like sensory deprivation. Yeah.
Yes, there it is. That's crazy. Infield hits. Brody Soaked you at Rockies Fest lineup this weekend. See you there. You are going to Denver this weekend?
I am going. Yep.
Oh, nice. Nice. We have a few BSB guys going to represent there, so we'll make sure
perfect.
you step by.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Awesome. I did not know that. Watch you pitch at Dwayne Banks in Iowa. Can't wait to watch you in Coors someday. Go Hawks from Access Granted.
Go Hawks.
There we go, all the way through. I'd like to ask Brody about training facilities. So this again, we're keep trying to build up to it. Have you seen or used the Rockies facilities? Are you a fan of the newer workout data driven systems? Good Lecca and everything. that was one of my questions. Have you been to the lab? I know last time we talked, you were going to be there in like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So the lab, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean we have very nice facility. We're definitely blessed, that we have very good facilities. Some of the best, out there at Salt River Field. So everything's nice. The clubhouses, the theater, cafeteria, the whole staff. The fields are very nice, and the lab is super cool. They got the force force plates on the mound, all the TrackMan camera angles, all this stuff. Like, it's definitely super high tech and very, very useful. And I've been in there a few times, and I know a lot of the guys really love it. Emilio and Stoney are great. The information you get out of there is super, super good. So we're definitely blessed with great, not only great people, but great facilities and in a lab environment too. So.
So I know you're a driveline guy. How have you intertwined that stuff with what the Rockies are doing and pitch shaping, all that? Let's kind of get into some of that, if you don't mind. It's like, so because I know Iowa big on analytics out there, and it's not your first rodeo and all that, but I guess how has your own stuff come into play with the Rockies stuff and vice versa?
Yeah, I mean, so Iowa, like, we're very, analytically driven. Every time we're on a mound, we have the TrackMan after we pitch, we get a whole report, strike percentage, pitch shape, velo, swing and miss, chasing swing rate, end zone whiff, end zone swing and miss, all this stuff. So, like, I was definitely very, ahead of the game when it came to that. I understood, where my pitches played, the movement on everything I'm looking for. So then I get to Colorado, I feel like I was able to, express and, show Stoney and Emilio, the lab guys of, hey, this is how my stuff, this is where I know the shape's the best, this is where I know it plays. And so, like, being able to, take what I know and then what they know with, movement patterns and, how we can get, to open up the hips more and get, more scap retraction, all this stuff. Like, we were able to, like, put it together and kind of work as a team to make sure, we're moving, as efficiently as we can, where we're putting, we're taking as, much stress off of the elbow and shoulder as we can, and making sure we can, just be healthy and whatnot. So, definitely, bringing both together. Obviously, they know analytics, but more so like the movements and, the force, that I generate and all this stuff was super cool to kind of just tie all together and whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting too. Like, the biomechanic aspect of pitching is just as big as, like, the pitch shaping. At the end of the season, your arm path was shorter than it was to start the season. Yeah. I'm curious about, like, what started that. Like, did somebody come to you about that? Was that your idea?
Yeah.
What's the story?
Nah, I mean, I just, I was, kind of like the first, month, 5 weeks, whatever it was, it's kind of like, it's kind of like up and down, whatever. And then obviously, I was rehabbing. So then I was kind of just like going back and watching film at, Iowa, I was like, my velo isn't quite where it was, I don't feel like I'm moving, as athletic as I was. And so I just kind of was going back and watching film, and, I was just like, these guys look like two totally different people, just, movement mechanic wise. And, not that you're going to always have the same mechanics, right? Your body's going to evolve. And, the guy who, the pitching, coaches always told us, like, when you debut versus, you're 5 years, 6 years in, like, it's not going to look the exact same. Your body's going to evolve. You're going to make tweaks here and there. You're not going to be the exact same pitcher. So I was like, I get it. But I was like, to me, this is like, the biggest thing was like just, athleticism. And, I just feel like I was kind of getting just stuck, really. And so, like, when I was down there rehabbing, just really trying to get back to being an athlete again, right? Sprinting, jumping, all this stuff, making me feel like I was, football player. I was athletic again. So, and then just in doing so, like, that kind of just, shortened up the arm path. And, it was probably a little too short, to where I wanted it. So we've kind of worked on it this offseason, kind of getting it, more flowy. Like, I feel like it was kind of just getting, I kind of wasn't, really getting any momentum out of it. I was just kind of here and up. So just letting it be loose and athletic and flowy has kind of been the emphasis this offseason, which has been going really well. So, that was just kind of the big thing. Was I was watching film and just kind of wanted to get back to being where I was, confident wise, feeling like an athlete. So,
yeah. Are those conversations you're having with, like, people about what you should be doing? Is that, like, with Driveline? Is that with the Rockies? Is it
Yeah, I
people
mean, no,
from
I
Iowa?
mean, yeah, no. So I definitely, talked with, Scott Oberg was one of our pitching coordinators, and then Jerry Sullivan was my pitching coach at Fresno, and really love both those guys, and especially Jerry. Just being there, being with me every day, being able to be hands on, like just give him like he was able to come up with cues for me that allowed me to get back to being more athletic, and I'm showing him the film, hey, look at this, and I reached out to some our Iowa analytic guys of like, hey, can you pull up this for me, and some track man data so we can see like kind of where we're at extension, release height wise, and just trying to get back to that and kind of find that balance again. So yeah, it was both. It was me going back and using some of the resources I had at Iowa, and then bringing the guys in that were with me there every day. So
that's awesome. Like the fact that you have that support group where you just like, hey, can you help me with this, and just rely on people and trust and work as a collaborative effort is fun. It's probably fun for you too. Like I'm sure you kind of geek out about talking about that kind of stuff, looking at it and like making a plan for that.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, you gotta have people in your corner, because when I'm on the mound, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was after I got back. I can't remember who I was. I think it was against either Inland or Stockton. Somebody I just kind of like timing wise, I felt it in my pregame pen. I just kind of felt that I was off and I was kind of rushing, and I think I walked the first guy of the game, and then Jerry comes out and he's like I know you're fine. He goes, but I want you to feel. He goes, you're rushing it. He's like, I want you to come up and feel you like feel like you're getting stopped, and then go, like, get a little twist with it with the hips, and after that I was lights out. So just having those guys, because like in the game, like I can feel it, but it's like I for me to focus on pitching and trying to come up with a cue at the same time, can kind of be much. So like for him to that's why you got to bring them in, right? So like when he knows when I'm trying to feel it, or he can see this, he can come tell me, and then I'm like, all right, yeah, no, here we go, now I feel it. And so it's just good to have those people in it with you. So
yeah. So like when you're changing your arm motion, you're from long to short and all that kind of stuff, how is that changing your pitches? Is that adding velocity? Is that lowering velocity? And what's the pitch shape look like on your nasty slider? How's that splitter coming along? Like how's all that coming?
I mean, I'm trying to think. I think I switched my fastball grip. I went back to how I was throwing it my freshman and sophomore year at Iowa, kind of get more cut ride, which probably played really well. I felt like I got a lot more swing and miss on it, and a lot more weak contact. And so that was the big thing, being able to get it, back to that shape and whatnot. And, the velo, went back up, I was, probably, partly because I was, healthy, and whatnot, but definitely, just feeling like an athlete again. And then, just splitter, I think just throwing that more and more, that was more so of just a mentality thing of like, hey, I'm just going to throw it, and just trust it. Like that was a big thing, rehabbing, like kind of just, I feel like for me, like, calling my own game was a big, adjustment I had to make, because at Iowa, like, pitching coach was always calling it. So, every time I stepped on the mound, I knew what I was throwing. So I was able to commit to it. And then, when I was those first 5 weeks before I got hurt, was kind of like just, I was kind of over analyzing everything, and trying to throw the perfect pitch in every situation rather than just like trusting what I got. And like, there's a book called Heads Up Baseball, and he goes, the right or the wrong pitch thrown with conviction is better than the right pitch thrown with doubt. And so like, even though on the scouting report it says, hey, go fastball, up and in, in this count, right? But it's like, hey, I'm not feeling, I want to rip the slider. I want to go away with it right here. Like just committing to it is better than, just kind of hoping and praying that it works. So kind of just getting out there, just kind of with the, kind of like F it mindset. Like I'm just going to go out there and just, throw my pitch and trust my stuff, was a big, mentality switch, for me too. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and this offseason, you changed your fastball grip last season. Are there any adjustments that you've made this offseason that you're hoping to implement to next year?
I mean, just continue to, just continue to hammer that, those grips, those 3 pitches, then we added a curveball, after the season, went down there for a little bit during instructs, to learn a curveball. So trying to get a 4-pitch mix going, that I think will be good. So, just kind of, keep the hitters on their toes, just getting something a little slower, kind of like making them freeze, steal a strike, whatever. So that's kind of been the big thing, is just kind of getting, I feel very comfortable with, I was very comfortable with fastball slider, and then, getting the splitter, along the back half of the year was really good. So very comfortable with all three of those. And now it's just getting the curveball, game reps, against hitters, just getting more comfortable and feeling that. So.
How rewarding is it to throw that splitter now? Or was it to throw that splitter and just a swing and miss on it? Just like when you have that conviction and that mindset and you get the results.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool, just being able to just kind of have the mentality of I could throw this any pitch or any count, to righty or lefty, it's just a lot big advantage, have rather than, them just sitting on, fastball or slider where, especially, slider, they're kind of just, all right, if they see it away, then they're just going to lay off of it or whatever. So being able to get something that kind of goes in on them, to kind of, back them up. And then, the biggest thing is, I show it, especially to a righty, and then they go back and talk, in the dugout. So then they, they're like, hey, we got to, look for it. So, definitely just being able to have, 3 pitches you can throw, at any count, against, righty or lefty was big. So. And that allows you to just go deeper into games, right? Sure, you can go 2 pitches, one time, 2 times through the lineup, but when you go 3, 4, especially as you get more and more innings, and and you're facing the same team, countless times throughout the year, right? You got to be able to have more than 2 pitches to be able to pitch against these guys, especially the more higher levels you go up. So.
Yeah, you are going to see a lot of the same team, especially in Spokane. If that's where you start the season at, you're going to have the same lineup, same team all the way through. So having that arsenal is huge. So do you feel comfortable with your 4-pitch mix now, that with your curveball now, you're going to this is where I'm going, this is where you're leaning into, or are you still thinking maybe I'm going to transition a different route?
No, I mean, I definitely think the curveball will be, a part of the arsenal. It's just game reps right now. I threw it, I threw, 2 innings, in instructs, before I headed back home. And so just getting more and more, game reps with it, against, real hitters, and whatnot. That'll just be the biggest thing. So getting comfortable using it in a game situation and, in different counts, that'll be the big thing. But, the other 3 definitely, feel like it'll be, I can throw those at any count. So now just getting the curveball, to where I want it to be. So,
yeah, I want to switch it up a little bit. I want to go back to Iowa. I was digging through I found some fun information. The Rockies drafted Seth Clausen last season. I went back to, I think, your junior year playoffs. It was the quarterfinals, I think. You 2 pitched against each other. You guys were the starting pitching matchup.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. Yeah.
Ankeny won the game. He had 16 strikeouts.
Yeah.
When you heard Seth got drafted and when he played for Fresno, did you guys ever talk about the game? Did you guys catch up on?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, no, it was definitely one of the things we brought up. I mean, even he went to Minnesota. I was at Iowa, so we're still playing in the Big Ten. So we talked about it then when we play each other. But definitely to have him on our team was good. So if I can get a curveball, that's I want his. So that was cool. Cool to watch. But yeah, no, that game was crazy. That was yeah, that was a fun game, for sure. But no, he's a great kid, good dude. Threw really well with us when he was out there in Fresno. So, I'm excited for his future. So,
yeah, that's awesome. I was
so
comparing your 2
world small. Go ahead.
Yeah, I compared some of your numbers, your high school numbers, your senior years, and you had him in every stat other than home runs hit. He had 1 more home run hit than you. So I think that's something that he can hold over you for.
Oh no, he's got that on me, dude. That's for sure. I was hitting was not my. I mean, I was a decent high school hitter, but I was with the shift. I had the shift on me in high school, so that told you anything about how well I could hit to both sides of the field. But no, I think it's a good thing I stuck with pitching. So
I think that answers Wild Innocent's question here. When was the last time you got to hit in a game, and do you miss hitting? I'm going to say no.
would have been my senior year semifinal when we lost to Johnson. So I mean, no, I miss it. I mean, I love playing center field is my favorite position to play. Just being able to go out there and track balls down and then hose guys at home plate was super fun. But I mean, I miss it for sure. But I definitely think I made the right decision just pitching. So yeah.
Yeah, no crazy Michael Lorenzen dual threats.
I mean, they need an AB. I'll go get an AB, or if they need a bag, I'll go run. I'll go steal. But no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, no. I'm glad I don't have to hit anymore.
That's hilarious. Yeah, we're on the 30-minute mark. We'll let you go.
No, you're good. You can keep going.
All right. So still a new dad. Probably don't have the free time, but if you do, what video games are you hitting up from our guy Luke here?
Yeah. You know, I love football. So NCAA. You know, just I've been doing some rebuilds. You know, of course I have Iowa Dynasty. You know, winning some natties. You know, just making it, trying to, you know, see it, you know, visually, so I can just speak over that for next year. But no, I love NCAA. That's probably a game I play the most, for sure. But you know, I love kind of like open world, like Assassin's Creed, Red Dead Redemption. I like playing those as well. But definitely NCAA is kind of my go-to. So
yeah, it's been so long since I've been on any video game. We have a Switch here. We have FIFA. I've been playing that with my boys a little bit, but that's about it. Any teammates that you're looking forward to be with again this year? Like, who's the guy that you're excited to see that's been a hot minute?
You know, I think, you know, Sam Girth was one of the guys I really connected with, you know, down there. He was, you know, rehabbing this whole year, so wasn't able to, you know, get out there and play with them. But it'll be good to see him again. And then, I mean, there's just a lot of guys. You know, Everett Catlett was one of the guys I kind of gravitated towards. He's just a funny dude. So good to see. It would be good to see him again. And then, you know, Jackson Cox, lived with him, and Tanner Thatch when he got out there, with Ethan, you know, lived with those guys. So I'm excited to see everybody. You know, it's been a while. You know, haven't seen, you know, Charlie, JT, Cole, like all those. They were all in Spokane, so like I was with them, and then, you know, I didn't get to see them the rest of the year, and whatnot. So I mean, I'm really excited to see everybody. You know, it's been a long. I mean, not long. It's gone by quick, but it's been a few months. You know, since I've seen them. So no, I mean, I'm excited to see everybody get back down there. You know, what's nice, we're all down there for spring training. We'll all be, you know, seeing each other. So it'll be fun.
Who's the jokester? Who was the jokester of Fresno? Of the Fresno team last year?
Everett's a funny guy. He's an interesting cat. Call him Big Cat next time. He'll love it. He'll eat it up. But no, he's definitely like, I mean, he's a funny guy. Like, I mean, he's business when he's on the mound, but you know, when he's off, he's a good funny guy. So
love that. We'll have to get Catlett on.
He'll love it. He'll eat it up.
What's a perfect music album in your opinion?
Perfect music album, in my opinion. I mean, to be honest, I really don't listen to anything like besides like worship music. So like Brandon Lakes, his new album is really good. And then like, I mean, I know Christmas got over, but Phil Wilkins got a really good Christmas album. So I mean, that's really all I listen to. So those two. I don't know if that's like you guys' style, but those are mine. So
I couldn't name an album either. I don't have time for music. It's just one of those things, not an option. What was your injury in Fresno? So I know you referred to it a few times, but what was the injury and how much did rehab suck? Like,
yeah, I mean, I was dealing with the back issue. But yeah, I mean, you know, it sucked, you know, just not being able to, you know, I was hoping this year, you know, get a lot of innings under my belt. You know, we still got a good amount in for missing 2 months, but, you know, just being able to, you know, it's a blessing in disguise, really. You know, I you know, a couple of things, right? You know, was able to, you know, I feel like I grew a lot closer with the Lord. We had a Bible study going down there to connect with a lot of guys, which was super cool. And then, you know, like I said, right, kind of refining myself, you know, getting back to being the athlete that I was, you know, switching the grip. So, you know, it sucked just not being able to go out there and play, but like, you know, in terms of like, you know, growth, you know, both physically and mentally, it was, you know, probably the, you know, best thing I could ask for, getting back to, you know, the roots of being an athlete, being loose, athletic out there on the mound, just kind of like recommitting to, you know, my mentality, you know, of just executing one pitch at a time, not worrying about, you know, where other people are at what levels, and not trying to, you know, compare myself to anybody, and, you know, just going out there and just pitching for the love of the game and executing one pitch at a time. So that was, so, I mean, I really, you know, it was hard to not be out there, but I really enjoyed the other parts of it, which was good. So,
yeah, almost like a little reset for you and put everything into perspective.
100%. So
I mean, you referenced it a little bit there, but like, do you ever feel some of that pressure of like, I have to get to a certain point by a certain time, or
I definitely say I did. I was like, I got drafted here. I signed for this much. I got to live up to it. I got to be, there now. Seeing guys at certain levels. I feel like I need to be there and all. Like so, like just comparison, right? They say comparisons a thief of all joy. Right. And so like, I mentioned earlier, I work with the mental performance coach, right? Like, two of my, affirmations, right, is I compete, I don't compare, and I focus on execution, not expectation. So just getting back down to that was really big. But now, like, it's like, I'm like, I know I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm right where God's got me. And, that's the biggest thing is just, controlling what I can control, right? I can't control, what level I start at or how fast I go up, or all I can control is my day-to-day process. And so that's just what I'm gonna stick to. Whatever happens. I'm just excited for the opportunity to be able to continue to play, and whatnot. So yeah.
And it's huge. Like I think every time we talk to players, it always comes down to this mental piece. It always just something that people are either working through or had that realization. Like, I had a setback. I have to reset. This is where I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do. And like, we're gonna have Austin Eminer on next week, and he had a setback, and just like it crushed him. But he's like, this is better now than later. It's better now than 2 years ago, and this is just where it is, and just kind of embracing the suck that it is, but also realizing what you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do in that moment. I think sometimes we don't take that for granted when it's in front of us. Like, you have this moment to just be part of it and just be here and be okay that it sucks, but then also understand like it's just going to make you better and stronger later.
Yeah. The mental performance coach I work with, he always talks about like ACT ACT, right? So like being aware of where you're at, creating a plan to get to where you want to be, and then taking the next step, right? So like kind of like that 3-step formula of just getting where you want to be. So like I was like, I'm hurt. Do I want to be hurt? No, right? But that's the reality of where I am right now. I'm not gonna be able, I can't go out there and pitch tomorrow, right? So just being aware of where I'm at. Right, I'm here. I'm in Scottsdale. I'm going to the facility. I'm rehabbing. Right, creating a plan of like, all right, these are the rehab exercises that help me go, and this is what I'm doing to get back to being athletic. Right, and then taking the next step. All right, I'm going into the training room, going into the weight room, and doing all this stuff. So it's just you got to have a process to get through it, and everybody handles it differently. But that's just what worked for me. So
yeah, it's huge, and that's just going to make you better and stronger as a husband, as a father, as a person, all the way through. And it's cool when we see that side of athletes again. That's what I love about this little platform that we build. Is like we get to see you all be human, because you are human, and sometimes we fans need to realize that too. Like, Brody Brecht's a dog, but like, give him some grace. Like, it's okay to give some patience and grace with all this as we continue just to watch him grow. Like,
I mean, it's just tough because we live in a results-based, business, right? Like everybody judges you and you get paid based off your results and all this stuff. But like, if you get caught up in chasing the results, that's when you're not gonna. You have to continue to trust the process. And Clint Hurdle always talks about that all the time. I remember, he's talking about when Charlie Blackmon retired, right? Like, he's still, that last day, like he knew he was going to retire, right? But he, was able to hit his lunge workouts. And he's like, it's like, who loves lunge? Nobody loves lunges, but like he was still doing it. And so like, you have to fall in love with the process. And I mean, most importantly, you have to have a process, or else, this game's going to eat you up, game of failure and whatnot. So you can't chase the results because you can't control it, right? You can throw the perfect pitch in a perfect situation, and the guy sticks his bat out there and he hits it right over the first baseman's head. Like that's just going to happen. But you have to like be able to go, back to your process and just trust that it'll work and it'll get you. So
that's the great Joel and pizza. Trust the process.
All right. When did you learn that? Like I wasn't a very good baseball player, so like I know baseball stats pretty decent. I know like when to apply them, like when to help out players where they need help, and just like talking with them. And a lot of them got so caught up in the results. And like once you get into like a struggle, if you're on a cold streak, when did you learn to not prioritize results when you're playing baseball?
Yeah, it was my junior year at Iowa. I was rolling the first 4 weeks. And then the moment adversity hit, I didn't know how to handle it. And then I, struggled for 5 to 6 weeks. And my whole thought focus was, how is this affecting my draft stock? I'm not going to go first round anymore. Chase Burns went 8 innings today. Hagen Smith went 7. That was literally is everything I do. I was, what are people saying about me on Twitter and all this stuff? And I was just mentally, I was broken. Didn't know how to get back. And that's when I started working with, the mental performance coach, Brian Kane. And he got me on a process, got me on a reset routine, deleted Twitter, stayed off of it, only focused on what I could control. Then after that, I pitched the best of my life. I'd gone 7 innings once in my career at Iowa before then. Then after I started working with him, I think I went 4 or 5 straight. And it was just, all it was a mindset switch of controlling what I can control and not worrying about what I can't. And so that was, that's when I learned that you have to trust the process. And I haven't been perfect. Like I said, that first month I was worrying about stuff I couldn't control and getting adapted to pro ball and whatnot. But I feel like I have a good process to go back to. But you just have to constantly remind yourself that that's what you have to chase, and you can't be caught up in the things that you can't control because it'll eat you alive.
Yeah, right. Would you rank like the mental side? Sorry, Aaron. Would you rank the mental practice of baseball just as high as like weightlifting or like practicing baseball itself?
I think if anything, it's more. There's a book out there. I can't remember. I think it's either with George St. Pierre or it's with Conor McGregor, his trainer. But it's in there about, they go, I'd rather fight 100%. When I go into a fight, I'd rather be 100% mentally and 80% physically than 100% physically and 80% mentally. And it's true. Like everybody trains their body as the number one thing, right? But you have to train your mind like you train your body. And so I think it's arguably the most important thing, whether you're doing shadow pens, visualization, mental imagery, concentration grids, some other, stuff to help with your focus and awareness. But I'd argue it's, one of the most important things, right? Your physical gifts can only take you so far, right? Each level you go up, the physical gap closes. It's the mental gap that, you see the difference between the good and the great players. And, I think baseball is the perfect example of what a mentally sharp person can do. Football, basketball, you can be a freak athlete and you can still, go pro, you can still have a career, right? But like baseball, you see all these guys all the time that don't look athletic at all. I'm like, how is this guy, a 10-year vet, right? But it's like mentally he was so dialed in, he could execute 4 pitches at any count he wanted to. And so that's how he was able to make a career. Like, this guy probably couldn't, run a sub 540 or jump more than 25 inches in the air, right? But he can throw 4 pitches for strikes and his process is elite, right? That's what's so cool about this game, is that you can just have an average Joe be a Hall of Famer. And so that's what I love about it. And that's where I've had to, physically, I feel like I'm gifted with a lot, but mentally that's where if I can combine that with the physical tools, that can be the next step in my development. So that's just what I'm constantly trying to do, is just mentally be, sharp as I can.
Yeah, I love that response.
I just thought of Bartolo Colon as you were explaining that.
I pictured him as I was talking about that.
And it's not fair to him, but there's a reason, right? Like, I mean, everybody, I'm sure you hear about it all the time in the locker rooms. And again, it's just some of the times that players have opened up. It's like, I've had some late night conversations in the locker room, and we worked through some stuff just mentally, and it had nothing to do with baseball, which is all this and that. And again, it's just even more important as you are married and you have a father and your father, and it's like, you have to be there and be ready and present, and you can't take that stuff home as easy as it was before. Mm-hmm. And like, I have to tell myself that, like, I have to leave my work at work, and I have to go home and be a dad, and then I have to be a husband. And like you have to set those boundaries, and it takes long to be comfortable with that too.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does. Because I remember it, when I was at Iowa before I started working with Brian, right? Like, I'd have a bad outing, and, we'd go out to eat with my family, and I'd be on my phone, wouldn't talk. Yep. And then, they'd leave, they're, driving 2 hours, every game to see me, or, flying to Penn State or flying to Rutgers to come see me throw. And, we go out to eat, and then I don't talk, they fly back, and then I feel just so guilty afterwards. I'm like, what am I doing? And so, like, for me, like, you got to have like he talks about, Superman, right? Clark Kent to Superman. When do you put on the cape? When do you take it off? And so, like, for me, post-game, like, shower, like, that's just me washing off whatever happened today. And then, I go home, be a husband, be a father, right? Because, my wife, she's still going to love me, whether I, threw 7 innings or I didn't get out of the first, and my, kid, he's not going to, he doesn't know. He's not going to care if I threw good or he just wants to see dad, right? So like just, the perspective of when to, turn it on and turn it off is a big thing that a lot of guys got to figure out. So.
Yep. 100%. I am on a tight deadline here. So about 5 more minutes and we'll get you.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I got to go pick up my boys, but what are you looking? So FanFest, what's on your agenda? Do you have that agenda? What are you doing when you're at FanFest in Denver this weekend?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully I get out there. Friday is supposed to be like negative. I don't know. Hopefully the plane starts. I don't know. So I might be a little late getting there. We'll see. But no, I mean, I think, we're supposed to get like our itinerary tomorrow. So I hope, I think just interacting, I'm not sure exactly what it entails. I didn't go last year. So, but just being able to, see the fans, see some of the guys that are going, I know, my wife Taylor, one of her best friends out there, so we're gonna get dinner with them. One of the nights we're out there, so that'd be cool. But I've never been to Coors Field, and so that'd be super cool to, see. And then if we got some time, go see the Mile High Stadium. It will be cool. Hopefully, Broncos can pull it out on Sunday. I know Bo Nix is down, which sucks, but hopefully Jarrett Stidham can get it done. But no, I'm excited just to be out there and just I'm super blessed if they wanted me to go and asked me to go. So I'm just whatever happens, but I'm excited for it. So.
Are you guys making a weekend out of it, or do you get?
Yeah, so we get there like Friday morning, and then we leave Sunday afternoon. So
time.
Yeah, so we got Friday. I think we have like Friday evening and Saturday evening, so it'll be fun. So
yeah, that'll be exciting.
Let's say like a freak situation happens and the rest of the Broncos quarterbacks get hurt. They hear that Brody Brecht.
Oh, I'm there. I'll be there. For sure. They don't even got a call. I got a connection there. Riley Moss, he from my high school, our rival high school, same town, and then we played at Iowa together. Yeah, maybe I'll be there 100%. I don't. They need a body. They need to go. They need a guy to run down on kickoff, go to somebody. I'll do it for 100%. But
whatever you need, Denver.
Dude, whatever they need, dude. I'll give Bo Nix my right ankle right now. He just got to give it back to me after Super Bowl's over. So,
not a Broncos guy, but I felt so bad. Like it was for Broncos Nation when all that went down. Like wasn't even able to celebrate and just embrace that. Yo, we're going to the championship here, and then it just goes 100% the other way. But
I know it's a tough sport. It's tough.
Yeah,
tough reality, but yeah, they'll be good. Sean Payton's a good coach. They got a good defense. Trust him. It's gonna be fun. Oh yeah, no, he ain't got to be Mahomes or Brady. Just go out there and make the plays.
Do your thing.
That's all you got to be. Yeah,
you have weapons around you. Use them.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Last question here. Super cool interview, Brody. Last question. What's your favorite tattoo, and do you plan on getting any more?
Favorite tattoo. I have one. My inner bicep is the most painful one for sure. But it's a cross. John 3:16 says forgiven. The essence of the gospel. So just whenever somebody asks me about it, always preach them that. And so that's definitely my favorite one. Even though it hurt the most, but that's the essence of what our faith is really. But then am I getting more? I want to. I kind of want to get it like a leg sleeve. My wife really doesn't want me to, so kind of battling that right now. But I definitely want to get one with Banks. Something with his footprint, name, date of birth, all that stuff. So I'll work. I kind of gotta wait now. Kind of missed the window for that. But that'll definitely be something I'll get here. Then once the season's over, probably. So. It's addicting, man. Once you get, I remember I got my first one senior year of high school on my chest, and then it's like, I kind of like want one on my arm, like just so you can't really see the one on the chest. I was like, people can see the one on the arm, and 2.5 years later, I have a full arm sleeve, so it goes by quick. So, but yeah,
I get that. I have two of my own of one on my ribs, which hurt like hell, and then the one on my back shoulder. But I was like, yeah, maybe. But then I met my wife, and she's like, no, I'm not into tattoos. They're in a good spot. You can't see them. We're not doing all that.
Yeah.
I've also thought about getting stuff for my boys. Like we had I don't know if you did this, but our firstborn, we had an animal for it. Like you had to pick an animal, and the elephant was the animal. So everything was elephant themed and all this. All this. So I was thinking of like a geometric elephant with his initials in it.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Like I was thinking right on the thigh. It could have been cool. And she's like, no, we're not doing this. We're just not doing it. I was like, all right. That's fair. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's crazy how much you just don't have a say anymore at all. But
no,
that's how it is. Yeah, so.
There's some battles you fight, and that's just not one.
There's some you just let go. Yeah, so.
Exactly. Have fun at Rockies Fest. We'll send
Absolutely.
our guy
Appreciate
Eli and Zach. If you see them, Eli and Zach, say what's up. I'll make sure they say what's up to you. Touch base.
Absolutely.
And, just have fun, embrace it, be all up in it, and we'll be watching, rooting for you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Brody.
Thank you.
See you, man.
Yep. Bye.